I'm back again. I am Gem Collectors with Shawn. I'm that Shawn. And I am so thrilled. I waited all week, so excited to be able to bring you the items I'm going to be featuring today. Of course, for me, you know, it could be some sand off the beach or the bottom of the pan from my creek, which holds the heavies, the concentrates, and never know what you might find in there. In other words, pretty much anything by way of natural. A lot of people might call it dirt. I call them gifts from Mother Nature, whether it be sand. Now remember, you can have peridot sand in Hawaii. You know, you're not allowed to pick any of it, green or whatever. Yeah, because peridot, of course, is one of those gems that is very closely related to volcanism and actually also from space. As in the olivine that you find in some of the nickel pallasites and whatnot. I had, and the squally stone. Some of you may remember it a number of years ago. I should have never sold that stone for what I did. It was a, you know, I wouldn't call it olivine. It was peridot quality, beautifully polished in this free form with this nickel meteorite all around it. A wonderful, wonderful piece. But hey, I've let a lot of things go at a bargain. And I was flipping through some auctions the other day out of curiosity. And wow, if I used roughly the number half, 50% of the prices at these auctions that the items went for in auction, I would still be, wow, I don't know what I would be, but a lot wealthier than I am now. Here's the thing. Specimens I have sold for less than $100, easily going for $1,000 to $1,500. And let me tell you one of them specifically. And I had 5 of these, I remember. And I've been here, and I've sold them here at Gem Shopping. So, you know, I've been here 17 years, 9 years doing the live show. One of them, the Vesuvianite. The Vesuvianite from Mexico. The Vesuvianites I had were euhedral, beautifully formed crystals with whitish grossular garnets attached to the outsides in a wonderfully aesthetic way. And there weren't any even indentations, cavities, areas that didn't form in the Vesuvianite at all. And they were a good 1 and 1.5 inches across thickness. Because remember, Vesuvianite, like I'm talking to a bunch of other professors, when you look down on them, they'll be like squarish. And they'll come to like a pyramidal termination in a lot of cases. And these were just the yellowish green ones that you see coming from that area. Wow, the price of those have skyrocketed in value. And that was just one. And remember, so in 7.5 years, I've sold 4,500 specimens just in the podcast, just in this podcast. And all of them coming from my private collection. And, well, more of them from my private collection instead of our general collection is the difference I call it, as the years have gone on, as I predicted years ago, that as we got further into the collection, there'd be really cool stuff that is popping up, and very randomly. It's kind of as I'm in the mood with whether I want to sell something, and it's also depends on how and the order I find them in a home that is really dedicated to rocks and minerals, because of course the Raven, her passion since the age of 10, and she was showing me, as a matter of fact, look at this, and I'm going to take this off later and show it to you close up. She didn't know it, but she was collecting Elot stone because she thought they were really pretty before they were really in. Genuine Elot stone comes from just one little particular area of Israel, and it has to contain a specific group of copper minerals. So, I mean, I can tell them to you. But I was going to talk about them as we look at this. So azurite, malachite, pseudo-malachite, chrysocolla, and turquoise. And a bonus is cuprite. This has them all. And a beautiful polish as well. So when I was looking at a couple other pieces she had, I told her, I said, wow, this is like some of the best elot stone I've ever seen, and probably the most in that quality I've ever seen together. And they were all set up. She said, oh, I just thought they were pretty. Now, mind you, she is very well versed on those type of minerals. So it wasn't one of those dingbat, oh, I just thought they were pretty. No, oh, I just thought that, you know, malachite and azurite and cuprite were pretty. I didn't realize that it had turquoise, pseudo-malachite, you know, that kind of thing. So we have these discussions between us all the time. She asks me every morning what she should wear. She'll give me a couple choices, and we talk about minerals. It's never ending, the passion and the love we have, and the kind of tete-a-tetes, head-to-heads over, oh, that's mine, and I brought that with me from Ohio, or the, no, you didn't, I've had that for 25 years, long before I knew you. But overall, it works out because we still have some wonderful things, and we really enjoy sharing them in a way that I feel our energy is affixed to some of these pieces, and it's transferred on, and it's all good energy. So anyway, let me quit yapping and get to the comments, the trivia, and I was just thinking, should I give you a hint? If I can round up, and I'm almost there, I think we're going to do a what am I, but don't count on it yet. We'll just have to see, since so many of you enjoy doing that. Okay, let's get going here. We have a new commenter that has given us a request, and that is absolutely fine. I tell all of you all the time, I mean, it's not, my show isn't one where I go out and purchase and locate particular requests. You can ask easily request items, and if I have it in my personal still vast arsenal of gems and minerals, then yeah, I'll be happy to bring it in and show it. And here's the thing, sometimes, maybe more so than not, I don't know. I don't know if I'll have certain things until I run across them, and then, oh, look at this, is cool. So it's not trying to get you to watch every show. It's that I, in over the years, in rotating the collections out, in moving and everything, and of course, remember, every time I do a show, all these items get, in the podcast, they get put up into the vault, and for 2 to 3 weeks are available for all of you to purchase. Then they come back to me. So what doesn't sell? And all that has to get filtered back into wherever I had them, including, you know, these items, of course, are well-wrapped coming, well-wrapped going, and that takes time. And also, you know, it can allow for things to get kind of difficult to keep organized. So I often don't know exactly what I have. And the neat thing is, it's always fun surprise when I do find something. And the magic of the show has it that many times, only when I put that energy out there by one of you asking for something, then something cool will turn up. And Bob, that happened in this case. And when I get to the item, I'll mention that. So anyway, now that we all know Mr. Bob's name, he requests, he goes, show requests are slabs or cutters for cabinet, also maybe agates and maybe stones to tumble or dome polish. But he also added, also disappointing to see GSN leave dish. And I would agree with you there, Bob. I would love for our network to be in every possible place it can be. But they've tried many different markets, so for whatever reason, they left dish. But remember, This show, in particular, you can watch just on YouTube, which, you know, only not long ago did I realize that, wow, I can get YouTube on my TV. And I think my son looked at me like I had 4 heads. Like, yeah, Dad. But more like, yeah, Pops. So you can, big screen TV right there, see all my failings in my hand and other places as you watch me age. Okay, so Mr. Bob, I have that request, and I will continue to remember you. And as I come across items, but when I come across and show this one particular item, I'll mention that it appeared right after your request. So maybe it's something you were looking for. We'll see how the magic works there. We have Miss Jan chiming in. No trivia from your show, but maybe for you. I can't believe it myself, she puts in quotes. I remember I bought a crystal sphere from you, thinking the future might be nice to see. More importantly, it was so pretty, and I didn't have one. But it, and not your fault at all, it got here one day after my son had passed. It's been 7 years ago, on the 8th of February. Gosh, he would be 40 in June. And Miss Jan, I think I and all of us remember when that happened. And then, of course, it wasn't too much longer after when Dennis, your husband, passed away. And I remember working with your son to get you a surprise present of something that you might like, which I thought was really, really thoughtful of him. So our hearts and sympathies go out to you in the passing of another anniversary. I don't remember much about a lot of things, but dates and times, as well as the ones who crossed over, I can't forget. Speaking of my son, you might recall he became a commercial fisherman, something he really enjoyed, and I was so proud of him. Not only just a fisherman, but he was also the one who kept the oxygen tanks and airlines operable for the divers. Very important job for certain. He had almost enough time spent where he was able to be a diver, something he really wanted to do. Breathe. At the beginning of today's show, I saw your sapphire fish, and it felt like we were on the same page. Sapphire is my birthstone, so I found the connection and bought the first 2 sapphire fish. Wow. Okay, so I was only offering 4 of those really rare opportunities to get in on those party color sapphires with wonderful 3-dimensional carving in them, and for it to show up on like I said, the magic of the show. When you looked and when he had become a fisherman, and then how rare would it be that not only would I offer a small carved fish, but it would be your birthstone as well. That's some serious magic going on. So I couldn't print it and add it to your comment, but I'll tell everyone that she had, Miss Jan sent me a picture of her son, and he's holding up, it must be a 3-4 foot long halibut. And if any of you know anything about fishing or anything about halibut, they look like a giant flounder, and they're one of the really big sport fishes that people go to Alaska, besides salmon, to go fishing for. They're bottom fishers, and so, you know, if you hook up with one, it can take a long time to pull them in because they're just flat and they just can hug the bottom. How do I know all that? Well, I don't know about fishing for halibut, but remember, I grew up in Sarasota, Florida, and fishing for flounder and grouper, those were the 2 things my mom would say to me. Besides, don't go drink too much beer today, but while you're fishing, catch me a flounder or a grouper. Of course, you know, 2 of the best tasting fish there are. Caught flounder, not real big, but perfect size for filleting and eating. And the grouper, the largest grouper I ever caught, it wasn't at that moment, but it was a particular moment. I remember I had skipped school that day. I was a junior in high school, and it was a place where I could just call, and they would it was dry docked. My boat was dry docked inside a building. So they go and they have these big forklifts and they pick your boat up and they put it down and they'll gas it up all for you. So, I mean, this guy was my buddy. And he was older, like in his 60s, you know, and I'm 17 at the time. Really nice. He knew I was skipping school, but didn't matter to him, you know. Told me some of his school skipping days. And so I would be able to go fishing over my lunch hour and come back to school and catch my afternoon classes because it wasn't far away and in the bay. But any of those fish, unless I had ice, I would usually just throw them back. I mostly threw back fish anyway. But I remember the day I caught a 5-pound grouper. And I tell you what, I thought I was just, you know, it, because that was a big, beautiful fish for me. And you know, nowadays, just my mindset, I would release them. But then, certainly not. And it was delicious. Kind of like, you know, when you catch your own food, it's just going to taste better. And I remember that. But that was the biggest grouper I ever caught. And remember, they belong to the family that are like Jewfish. And there's groupers that can hundreds and hundreds of pounds. There's grouper or members of the Jewfish family where the mouth could engulf half a human. It's that big. So, see, we talk about anything in this show, or at least I do. I can stray because I have so many memories over 6 continents and lots of hobbies. Most all of them, though, centered back to prospecting, to metal detecting. If I was smart, I would have not spent a moment on the beach looking at girls drinking beer with my boat right on pulled up on the shore to jump in, race around all I want, when I should have been doing what I saw the Black Sox doing. And no, it's not a type of baseball team. No, these are the older gentlemen. I got to watch what I say because I am that old man now. Wearing black socks, wearing, reminds me of how my dad would dress, wearing the checked shirts with striped pants kind of thing, shorts, on the beach with headphones on and a metal detector. That guy, I can assure you, made far more money than I could have ever made working as a busboy at the time for part of that time. Later, with my buying office here in Georgia, when I had it, the number of people that came in to sell me what they had found with their metal detectors on the beach, Panama City, and through the panhandle of Florida there. It would blow your mind. I saw everything from a diamond presidential watch someone had found to countless numbers of everything from engagement rings to you name it. And every morning, when you're mining a vein of gemstones or a vein of crystals, right? That vein's going to run out. When you are on a popular beach like Panama City, Pensacola, anywhere that a beach is popular, every day, every morning, if you're there when the sun comes up, you're talking about a recycled batch of, it's like crystals growing overnight in a mine. Because all those people the day before are fresh blood to losing new stuff. My own son lost a wedding band, and I'm glad that, as I advise women, to start your man off with a trainer band, a trainer wedding band, and it starts with a titanium, then it works up to a gold one. Of course, now, this was when platinum was much more than gold, so it has flipped. So now I would advise titanium, then platinum, then they can earn the right to wear a gold band, and provided they don't lose it within a year, which the majority of men will lose it. I have sat in bars and whatnot, and seeing men take their band off and they're just spinning it, on the table and playing basketball with it. And, it's just a thing to play with. They were sitting with their buddies, yucking it up, and they're taking it on and off their hand and fiddling with it. They're not used to having jewelry on. Well, the blanket and the flip, that's all it takes. Sand on the blanket. Your job as the man is to shake that sand off. Most people will have a shoe to hold the corner down for the wind, right? Many people will put their things of value in the shoe. Well, if you go to flip that blanket and that shoe is still on the corner, and that's all it takes, as was the case with my sons. So he flips the blanket, the shoe flips, the band flips out, and instantly at that point, you're done. It's lost. Oh, you can try to dig around in the sand a little bit, but a metal detector would find it within a moment. And you can rifle through the sand the rest of your life and never find it. So, my payback karmically for, in my mind, making fun of those men with black socks now, is because if I was back in Florida, that's what I'd be doing every day. I would be getting up early. I'd be getting my metal detector out, which I already have the metal detector. I had it then. And I would be the one finding those treasures. So you have seen the things I found with my metal detector back behind my property, because I am in the area that was originally settled in 1828 as part of the Cherokee Nation when they found silver in Silver City. I've shown you the items. Nothing of any value, but really neat smithing techniques of different items that they made. I told Raven yesterday, I said, if I was born back in the day, I would have been the blacksmith. I definitely would have been the blacksmith. So anyway, let's get going here. Let's see, Miss Jan. So our thoughts and feelings with you in regards to the loss of your son and the anniversary of it. But that was a great picture of that big fish that he caught, and that is so awesome for you to have gotten 2 of those sapphire fish. They were outstanding. Miss Gabby in the Florida Panhandle. Now remember, Miss Gabby, she hangs out in a couple of places, but one of them, the Florida Panhandle, and she was there when, listen to this, greetings and salutations, everyone. Yep, got 4 inches of snow at my house in the Panhandle of Florida. It was a beautiful sight, and I enjoyed it, but on day 5, I was ready for it to be gone from my back deck. And that's the thing. The snow, we got a little bit up in North Georgia, but it hung around because it stayed cold for days. And I could not believe the Panhandle of Florida, having lived in Sarasota even, had got that much snow. Incredible. Shawn, I was so happy to hear you address horsetail inclusions in demantoids. Now, everybody needs to listen to this again really well. I'll start. Shawn, I was so happy to hear you address horsetail inclusions in demantoid garnets. That it is a conclusive tell that the stone is from Russia! Exclamation point. I was told several years back by a 40-year-plus gem dealer that they could also be found in the Persian material. So as someone who never says never or always, especially when it comes to Mama Nature, not surprised to hear it can be found in other localities as well, as it's, even if it's extremely, extremely rare. Exactly. The Iranian ones, or Persia. Persia is the name of antiquity for the Iranian area, and produces incredible colored demantoid garnets. I would have to venture to say it ranks right up there with the best of demantoid for color. Horsetail inclusions are found in those. GIA article done. There's demantoids from Italy, small but stunningly beautiful in color. 18 specimens out of 18 that were sent in for evaluation, for origin and other information to GIA. All 18 had horsetail inclusions of a serpentine nature, like I discussed last week. some people, they're hollow tubes. Others, they just call it serpentine. Now remember, serpentine is a big, broad, general name that asbestos comes underneath it. Chrysotile, which is another type of serpentine, comes underneath it. Bisolite, another type. So pretty much just they're made up of a talc, asbestos, chrysotile, serpentine, right in that family of minerals. And they were actually found in pretty much every area that demantoid garnet is found. So for it to be said that if you have a horsetail inclusion, that it is definitive proof of it being of Russian origin is a fallacy. That would not be true or correct. It could be from somewhere else. Now, most likely, due to rarity, that it could be from Russia, but you cannot say that for certain anymore. Nor, when even if it's of a really fine color and quality, can you say, oh, because it's a really nice, beautiful stone, it's from Russia. No. Do some research, look up the Persian and Italian material, and you'll, gorgeous stuff. It's just not common. We don't see it out there, but just because we don't see it doesn't mean that the science isn't there, and it completely negates being able to say that horsetail inclusions are definitive proof of Russian origin. Not the case. Okay, so let's go back. So yeah, so that's a great discussion for Miss Gabby to have helped continue it, because I know that she knows those stones well, and her additional confirmation is most welcome. Let's see. Okay. Speaking of the Persian material, I have a set of 3 small demantoids from there. Wow. Wow. I might need to see a picture of that, Miss Gabby. No horsetails, but a beautiful spectral bright green, very much like the best Russian material. Wow, you did well to score on those. Trivia. Now, the questions to the trivia were, number 1 was, Spinel belongs to, and it's important, as I told you then, you have to listen to my exact wording of the question. Spinel belongs to what crystal system? Not crystal habit, not crystal form, what crystal system? And the answer to that would be a one-word answer, isometric, meaning equal sides. It's the same crystal system that diamond belongs to. Some people then will refer to other habits of like cubic, like a cube, equal sides. But isometric means equal sides, but it can be equal sides without it being a cube. It can be a dodecahedron. So, question number 2 was, name 3 names given to the crystal form or habit that it can be found in. So the second question has to do not with what crystal system, but what are the common forms, in other words, habits, that you see it found in. And the answer to that is, and you have to just picture the Spinel crystals, and that should be an easy answer because I showed you multiple parcels of this exact form. So, name the 3 names given to the crystal form or habit of the Spinels shown. So I made it easier, and the reason why I said dodecahedron, because of the garnet family. So you have the garnet family that can be isometric, and you get all these other different looks to it as well. So in the case of Spinel, of the ones shown, what is the name, 3 names commonly used for the shape of those crystals featured? Now, if you remember those crystals featured, all of them were, if you split them in half, was a pyramid on each end, right? It was like if you took 2 pyramids and put them base to base, so then you get points at each end. That goes underneath the name bipyramidal, and these are the answers, the 3 answers, or dipyramidal, or count the number of sides up. Now, remember, to a pyramid that's free, you have 4 leaning sides, right? Then you have a base. So there's actually 5 sides. But if you have 2 pyramids and put them together, right, base to base, then what you have are 4 sides to a pyramid here and 4 sides to a pyramid there. There is no other exposed face. So you have 8 faces. Thereby, the name octahedron applies. Octahedron. So we were looking for the names bipyramidal, which means 2, dipyramidal, which means 2, and those are both commonly interchanged and used. And then the third one, the octahedron. So that was the answer to number 2. Number 3, name 2 methods mentioned to distinguish between green grossular garnet, sabarite, and demantoid garnet. Now, demantoid, remember, is an andradite. Andradite, remember, belongs to the eugrandite family of garnets, meaning each one has calcite, versus the pyrospites, where each one has aluminum. Andradite, the difference between andradite and grossular, chemically, both have calcium, but the second element is what's different. In the case of grossular, it's just a calcium, aluminum, silicate, oxygen, just like the regular ending. But in the case of andradite, it's calcium, iron, aluminum, silicate. So you have iron present. Now, what have we learned about iron? Iron is a fluorescent quencher. And so if you remember these things, you can come to the answers through the back door, because I asked for to name the 2 methods that I mentioned to distinguish between 2 very similar, because remember, you can have green demantoid and you have green grossular, which is sabarite, and then, of course, demantoid. How do you tell the difference if you're in the field? How do you tell the difference if, you have a parcel out in front of you, you don't have your refractometer, which garnets anyway, remember, often, especially those demantoids, go off the refractometer scale. So that doesn't even do you any good. How do you tell the difference? Well, we've done this here many times, and it should come easy to you, and it should be something that is always carried in your pockets. And I do. I always have a magnet, and I always have my fluorescent light, my black light. There's your answers right there. A magnet will determine the difference between grossular and andradite in a moment. Because of the iron in the andradite, the magnet will drag it or move it to some extent, and in the grossular it won't do anything. But if you remember, if andradite, which is the family name for the type of garnet called andradite, called demantoid, you know now that it has iron, right? Well, you learned months ago. Remember, you're thinking, iron, fluorescence. I think I remember Shawn saying that iron was a huge fluorescent quencher. In other words, if something has iron in it, it puts the damper on fluorescence. It allows the material that might normally fluoresce to either be less fluorescent or not fluorescent at all. And in the case of the andradites or the demantoid family, That's it. With iron, it quenches out the fluorescence. But when you get to the grossular garnet, it is wide out, and you get some stunning fluorescence in the grossulars. Oddly enough, not in every grossular. There can be instances where the fluorescence is weak or faint or hard to determine. But between those two, the magnetism and fluorescence, you can easily determine what's what. Okay, so that was the answer for number 3. Now, let's get to everyone else's answers. So, Miss Gabby says trivia. On the trivia, she goes isometric, so getting number 1 right. Now, on the second question, which was name the 3 names given to the crystal form or habit of the spinels shown. So octahedron, which would be correct. Macle, which would be correct. I accept that. And you said not to say twin, but going with Star David twin. So, and then checking for magnetism and fluorescence. And she's opting out anyway, so, but did real well on answering those questions, as Miss Gabby always does. Miss Cindy says, hello, Rock family. Wonderful show as always. Can't wait to see what you have coming up. Trivia winner, OMG. This is what Miss Cindy won last week. OMG, a Madagascar iris, cat's eye, appetite. I am speechless. Everything about it, the color, the locality, the iris, the cat's eye, better than a diamond in my world. It is absolutely better than a diamond. And the thing about it is, I didn't really think about it, it's Paraíba color, a Paraíba color. And that was a stunning stone. And I can't believe I gave it away. Thank you, with about 20 exclamation points behind it. I have no idea why I typed China in my answer last week, because everyone, remember, I graded on a curve, but I knew she knew better. I had Japan in my notes. Miss Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. And, okay, well done. We'll move on. Mr. Charles in Oregon. We're finally getting to hear from Mr. Charles. That's fantastic. Ciao, fellow rockhounds. Please pardon my absence. Despite not writing in, I did tune into the show when time and energy permitted. Now that the holiday season is behind us, I hope to participate more. I was glad to hear you. And what I'm going to read, everyone, just please listen and pay attention to it, because I think Charles put it really eloquently, what I was trying to convey last week. So he writes, I was glad to hear you humbly remind the viewers of the importance of supporting the show. You provide a valuable educational service for which I feel we owe you something in return, if possible. Since my last correspondence, Heidi and I have purchased a couple of tumbled ruby parcels, a vanadenite with barite, and some fantastic cat's eye moonstones. Thank you for offering such beautiful and diverse gemstones and mineral specimens. Then he goes on, we were lucky enough to score one of your mixed color rough spinel parcels this week. I can't wait for them to arrive in the post. With love, Charles. And we love you back, Charles, and I love you personally. I always appreciate it when you join the show, and we'd love to hear more back from you and Heidi. And so last weekend, what is referring to was at the beginning of the show, you know, it took Barbara to actually tell me, and I must have done 300 shows. I must have done 6 years of shows, 6.5 years of shows before I ever did what I'm going to do in a moment. And she said, this is what you do, Shawn. You go, like and subscribe. Okay. Thumbs up, like, and subscribe is what I'm supposed to remind everybody to do. I had never done that once. Never even crossed my mind. Because for me, it wasn't about, and I know this is a terrible thing, so we won't let many people hear it. Marketing and sales and growing, you know, the number of subscribers. But for me, unfortunately, I don't, my head isn't geared in that direction when it probably should be. For me, it's sharing the hobby, the knowledge, and income and sales is secondary, tertiary, somewhere down the line. When the reality of it is, if all of you don't support the show, of course, it wouldn't be here. You know, as someone told me after 2 months joining 17 years ago, and I'll never forget it, the client called in, and after only 2 months of me doing shows, she said, I know gem shopping is about show and sell, but you make it like show and tell. And that, I thought, never forgotten that. I thought that was one of the best ways to put it. So I did last week, with the start of the new year and with me trying to improve the show and as many other aspects of it as I can, humbly did ask that if you haven't, you know, but love watching the show and haven't made a purchase, you know, it doesn't have to be much. Just if you buy a X dollar item, it just shows up as more people that have purchased from the show because the numbers are clear. Many of you love watching the show and love getting the education and the enjoyment and maybe the spectacle of the humor of watching Shawn. But, you know, I hate to ask or ever push sales because, again, that's not my part. But, you know, in the reality of it, yeah, it would be great. So I really thank all of you for supporting the show financially through your purchases. Even if you make just a small one every now and again, it makes a difference because it's, you know, number of buyers versus number of watchers and the difference. And all of that, believe me, when you're in this type of business, rightfully so, the owners track those kind of things. And, you know, they probably see that Shawn's a windbag and probably needs to show and sell a little more than show and tell. But so far we're okay. But again, I did humbly ask, and I'm glad it was taken as humbly because that's how I meant it. And I don't normally even like to go there. But remember, I am that Charlie Brown that when given a rock for either Christmas or for Halloween, is the best thing you could give me. And the worst? Candy corn. Can't stand that candy corn. Okay, let's continue. So thank you, Charles, for underscoring a very important part of the show. Thank you. All right, to the answer. Spinel belongs to the isometric crystal system. Answer number 2, the 3 synonyms, even though not exact, well, let's see. Synonyms mentioned for the most common crystal habit of Spinel are bipyramidal, dipyramidal, and octahedral. Yeah, he got it right. There were a couple of specimens shown that had a less common macro habit. I mean, wow. Smart guy that Charles is, covering it all. Answer number 3. One in-the-field method described to distinguish between a green grosser and demantoid garnet was the magnet test. Demantoids are magnetic, grosser are not. Well done. The other method described was the black light fluorescence test. Grosser garnets fluoresce orange. Demantoids do not. Come on in the house, Chuck. Next, we have Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts. Hello, all. Last week, I typed out a comment, but evidently, I never sent it. And evidently, you must not have, because I even went back and looked to make sure I didn't miss anybody's because someone else had trouble sending one or something, or had forgotten to send it. So, nope, you didn't, because I look forward to, you know, the regulars and reading them. Last week, I scored the androdite with quartz specimen. I try to collect androdite by location and actually have one from Stanley Butte, but it does not have quartz. And that specimen, Mr. Anthony, was a score. I remember exactly when I bought it, and it really attracted me. I am really glad to see, since you're collecting garnets and androdites, that you're the one that wound up with it. And that's why I kind of like to know. Not everyone has to tell me what they're getting. I mean, we have a secret, very strong buyer scooping up some of the, you know, the ferrocobaltites, that huge rutile. Very wise buyer. He hasn't revealed himself, and that's fine. It's kind of neat. It's kind of like a secret bidder out there. But it's also nice to know, though, where some of my, especially like garnet, since it's my birthstone, items like that went and go to. So good job on picking up an amazing specimen because it has that perfect quartz crystal. Okay, so let's see. Mr. Anthony goes on and says, trivia, isometric, bipyramidal, dipyramidal, and octahedron. Nailing all three. Answer number 3, demantoid is magnetic, grosser will fluoresce. Glad to see more folks tuning in and participating. Welcome to all. Eyes down, Mr. Anthony. Miss Penny and Mahaly from Quebec. Hello, Shawn, the very lovely Raven, amazing GSN crew and fellow rockhounds. I hope this finds everyone well. Trivia, number 1, isometric, like a diamond. Number 2, octahedral, bipyramidal, dipyramidal. Well done. Number 3, magnet, demantoid, fluorescence, grosser. That sums it up very concisely. Remember, it was Miss Penny and Miss Barbara that each tied on the what am I at 8 of 9 specimens. They each got a diamond necklace because I couldn't split. I couldn't just roll the dice and one get one and the other get nothing because I think 8 out of 9 was amazing. Faves of the week. Love those sapphire fishies and the carved animals. Cool. So did I. Yeah. Chuck's here. He said they were cool too. He agrees. Thank you once again for the diamond strand. I finally received it today. And everyone, if your free items take longer to get to you. So that was told to me years ago. So let me just remind everybody. If you're used to getting something that you pay for really quick, well, please understand when it's free, it might take a slower path and a little longer to process. It just gets processed differently. So keep that in mind and be patient on that. It comes. But if after like 3 weeks or something, no one gets their free item, please contact me. And that has been the case several times over the many years. I'll make sure that you get it. So, or see what's going on with it. Just leave me a comment. Shawn at gems.com. That's it. That's all you have to ever remember. Shawn at gems.com will bring you right to me. And I actually have my phone set up that even if, I'm in whatever I'm doing, it pops up, bing, when you guys email me. And I can see it. Even more so than my regular email. So it gets priority. So thank you once again for the diamond strand. I finally received it. I have an idea as to what I can make. I just have to get a couple of other projects out of the way first. Last week I was looking for a couple of papers. Didn't find the papers. Now remember, Miss Penny lives in Quebec. But I found $35 US. Now remember, versus the Canadian dollar, which I think trades about 25% less than the US dollar. So a $35 US money is what, maybe, I'm just guessing, Miss Penny, but probably around $45 to $50 in Canadian. I used that money to buy an amethyst gator, yay. If I am extremely lucky, I will receive that before Sunday, just in time for Mahaly's birthday. Happy birthday to Mahaly's when it comes around. Well, that's cool, that's cool. And the magic, I will oogity boogie. Now, my magic has it that you will get that in time. Just when I thought we were done with the cold, now remember, this is Quebec, it dipped down to the minus 20s. Wow. And of course, on one of the coldest days of the season, today, Wednesday, and that would be just 2 days ago, or one day, yesterday, I had to take the bus to and from work since my car started making funny noises last night. It turns out that the right CV joint and drive shaft had to be changed. $750. Long live all the potholes we have. That's it for me. We wish everyone a wonderful week and hope to see you next week, Penny and Mahaly in Quebec. When I think about that, the money, it's like all the rocks and minerals, and I know you were thinking that too, that could buy. But the reality of it was, if you actually got, I've had four-wheel drives all my life, and like when I had my short CJ5 Jeep, that's real short, and four-wheel drive. So you have a big sharp angle on both of the drive shafts, which would cause, at the time, the CV joints to go through them if you four-wheel drive rather quickly. So I know all about that. Price-wise, especially if that's Canadian dollars, that's pretty fair. I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't more. But potholes will absolutely knock everything out of whack when you go through those over and over. So, and in that kind of cold, yeah, I'm glad you got your car fixed. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn says, hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole rock family. Spinel-tastic. Such a beautiful, lively, durable, and versatile stone, which is finally getting its due. I was able to impress Antoinette Matlins with a large cut pink/orange spinel, which is everything a podparacha only wishes it could be. There's also a Vietnamese pure red from Look In, which is small but mighty in my collection. I noticed that some varieties of purple will fluoresce pale murky green. But I've never seen the most rare of all, pure colorless spinel, like acrowhite and tourmaline, a rare bird indeed. Great Paraiba color on Miss Cindy's Appetite Prize. Congratulations. Yeah, I'm having some trivia regret on giving that one away. A half dozen of the charcoal diamonds from last weekend's prize strand glowed orange in long wave ultraviolet light. Cool. That is cool, Miss Barbara. I actually tried that on some to see if it had an effect versus, was it Matt that got the other strand that were a grayish color and fluoresced every color you could imagine. It's one of the most beautiful fluorescent strands I've ever seen. But the charcoal color ones didn't fluoresce so much, so that's neat to see that some of them did. As to the trivia, isometric, correct. Octahedron, correct. Double pyramid, Miss Barbara says. Double pyramid. Miss Barbara, I think you were having a moment because I know you knew a better name for it than a double pyramid, which isn't the name we actually used or would actually recognize. Technically, yeah, it's a double pyramid, but not called that officially. Then she has Mackle, so we'll give her Mackle, and then magnetism and fluorescence. So I only gave you a question mark about the double pyramid, didn't completely count you out as a wrong answer, because I know you knew the other three answers, you've used them before. Enjoying all the daily videos coming from the various events at Tucson, January 31st through February 17th. Peter McHugh on Santa Eulalia crystals. And Patrick Dreyer on carving were great talks at the Tucson Fine Mineral Gallery with 10 more to come. A great way to learn from experts in the field for free in your living room. Yeah, the Santa Eulalia one would be really interesting for Mexican specimens. I've sold, as many of you might know, several specimens from there. Take care all and watch out for the multiple ice events being forecasted across the country in the next 10 days. As an oldster, I have to admit that when ice is involved, this sassy New Yorker is a devout coward. Miss Barbara from Brooklyn, and I agree with you, even my four-wheel drive, it doesn't do any good, it doesn't matter. Ice defeats a four-wheel drive. It really doesn't help much at all. Okay, so there we have it, and I think we have everybody here. I want to get started with the show. So let me announce that winner, and the magic of the show would happen. I notice often when those of you who disappear for a while and then come back, you bring back a sense of energy and positivity that allows you to win the trivia, because this week it is Charles. Charles, you have won. Let's show Charles what he has won. Yep, Charles, you got the answers very correct, very well detailed, and I have one of the most unusual pieces of quartz here. I've never seen another one actually like it. I mean, you know, in magazines and stuff. This is, look at that, smoky quartz. Let me give you the item number if you don't have it. Do you have it there, Mr. Lateef? Yep, that's it. Okay, so Brazilian epidote. Look at this guy. Those are incredible external epidote crystals. You often see them internally, and I have most likely, I don't see how they probably couldn't be some internally as well. But look at how beautiful they are. Look at that. Now, hold on, let me see. Oh, let me try something else here. If Chuck, you'll follow me through this. Let's experiment. So focus through that onto the specimen and see if I want to see. Let me add a little bit more light to it here. And this is just, of course, me experimenting again to bring you items to where I can magnify the look. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I need to move this back. Hang on. And get my finger out of the way. Okay, where am I? That's the question. Okay, now can you focus on that, Chuck? There we go. There we go. So he's in. So this may be too magnified for me, but I'm just experimenting. And all right, now we'll put that one away. So let's go back to, and that's just part of the fun of the show is you get to see it as we get to see it. Let me do this under the classic loop, and there we go. That probably works fine. Look at that. Look at those epidote crystals. That is really beautiful. And then let me see. On this side, we have more. And then, yeah, that's pretty. I hadn't had a quartz specimen that had epidote like this on it that I can remember. And to give it away, wow. There may be anhydrous in it. I didn't take the time to investigate deeper into it, but who knows what's in there. Look at that. Look at that. And then look at this one. This one is easy to find. You have all kinds of goodies going on. And that's just it. I could have given away just one crystal. Would have been certainly impressive enough. But wow, look at that. Oh, look at the iris on the corner. You see that? Hold on. Look at that. Look at that thing. Look at that guy. I love it. I mean, you wouldn't even know it appeared until boom, then it appears. So there's much to explore in all these, much to explore. And in this one, a lot of times the rutile will be going all in one direction. Not this. These are scattered in every different direction. And then look at some of the deeper irises. Look at that. Wow. Look at that, hidden back in there, and places that you wouldn't normally find it. So how fun is that? Both free. All right, let me tuck those away. We got a lot to do. I'll be right back. Now, even though you've seen other ruby crystals or thought you might have seen something similar, you haven't. This, yeah, you've seen the crystals, but you haven't seen anything quite like this. Now, the Mysore district, Karnataka, I mean, that sounds straight out of an Indiana Jones movie because these kind of treasures are the ones that were being discovered and found in India at the time. You had amazing ruby deposits in the Mysore district, but the level of quality, they were big, but they were not of a gem quality like, of course, you can find in, Burma, et cetera. Now, here's the thing. When I started buying large rubies, like you remember that really large crystal? I still have it. Maybe I'll get it out and show it for reference. They were common. You could find them. Now, I'm talking about 3 decades ago. Not anymore. Not anymore. That deposit in the Mysore deposit has really, really, really dried up, and very little is available. They used to be able to carve spheres. I remember a while back, I had a sapphire sphere. I had a sapphire with a star in the end of the frog's nose. And it took a while to sell it. I was really surprised. This is a treasure for several reasons. And it is something that, let me show you. Until I put this in my hand, you get a better appreciation for size. Then you have this negative impression where there was another crystal that would have laid right in there and the ruby grew around it. This is certainly ruby color, absolutely ruby color. And then you can see just how well defined it is. Here is the termination. You also have some muscovite mica mixed in, and it is a stunning, intense fluorescence. I'm talking about even from feet away. You can put a black light on this and it just lights up. The closer you get, the more intense it is. This, Matt, check in with us, Matt. What you been doing? He's, of course, the retired principal who was collecting and got a Geiger counter and was collecting fluorescent minerals. This would be a jewel to add to your collection if you are a fluorescent lover, because look at this. And the neat and cool thing is, it is exactly 100 carats. Exactly 100 carats. And I think number anomalies like that are always interesting because I tell you what, they're rare. They're rare for it to come out to something like that. Now, this crystal would cut amazing, beautiful cabochons. It would also slice up into wonderful thin slices to drill and do as drop earrings. There is so many things you can do in or out of the box if you don't want to keep it just as a crystal for your collection. It is outstanding just as it is, especially since at 100 carats, only $118. $118, that's $1.18 a carat. That was easy math to figure out. $1.18 a carat. Look at the size of that. That's impressive. That is an impressive color, an impressive crystal, and a bargain. Now, let me show you for comp reasons, 121, 5824. 121, 5824. And you know what? Even though I shouldn't, because these are super, super rare. It's that big ruby crystal I had just mentioned. Well, let me show you. Let me show you just a little bit of difference, because if I don't, you won't really appreciate, and I don't want to scratch the glass up, so let me just change. And by the way, also, if you'll notice, I made this from material and brought it in because I knew, yeah, look at that. I liked it. And you're right, the other one was terrible. So, okay, here is the ruby you just looked at. Here's the other one. Now, this one was beautiful and wonderful, and it is. Look at the size of it. You know, and it's wonderful. But then that's why comparisons are so important at so many different levels, because of this. Now, you would think that this was red, and you would think it was very ruby-looking color, until you have something like this next to it. And then it becomes, and that's why at the beginning, remember I said that has that true red ruby color? Well, that's because without even looking, I knew that there would be a big difference between that and this. Now, this, of course, lends itself to the purple. Now, you talk about something rare and unique. Look at the perfect euhedral shape. In other words, a perfect crystalline shape. Look at how symmetrical the outer hexagon shape to that is. Then the trigons. You see all these little triangles? Those are very desirable if you are a collector for particular crystals and crystal shapes, and that is important to you. Then you want to see this, because what they call it, they call it the radioactive symbol. Because look at this. You have 3 triangles here. See, you might have been looking at the smaller triangles, the triangles within the triangles, but take your mind and look at the bigger picture, and you have 3 defined triangles like a radioactive symbol would be. And that is like the final touch on the trigon type of termination. See, that's the end of the crystal termination. Now, here's the other thing. When you look at this, look at the other side. You have the trigons, but look at the difference. See what I mean? You have these all going in one direction, and that in the same crystal. And that is why when you get the radioactive 3 crystal trigon formation, it is something special, because that is not always the case. And, you know, I just love holding this other ruby in my hand, if you notice me doing that. There's a certain energy, and I don't get weird like that. I'm not one of those really metaphysical people, but certain specimens, certain gems, that's why you have pocket stones, because they might appeal to you more than others. And so just go with it. Put them in your pocket when they're like that. All right, so you have, then on the side of this, there's actually, besides some mica, you have garnets. Look at it, see right there. You can see the different color red. Yeah, so there's actually garnets, and you know, there's another one, gemstones, on top of, and look at the etching here. See all these little pits? That is etching from where something has come through and etched or dissolved to the way the material, wherever it was forming. And now, let me show you the other item that makes this uber special. And we've talked about it. We've talked about what a floater crystal is. And as we come away from this crystal a bit, I'm going to be able to show you. Now, almost all crystals have a contact point from where they originally grew. Now, if you notice this one, you can see the termination. In other words, the end of the crystal. And by the way, if I was actually going to investigate this crystal to cut in any form, I would partially dome the top of this. I see a little bit of a chatoyant reflection here. I would make sure that it wouldn't cut a star before I did anything else to it. If it cut a star, then I would just be going boom, 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 going right down here, cut about 6 or 7 star rubies out of it, and make a fortune. Okay, so you can see that on this end, the crystal isn't terminated. It has actually been either broken out of the matrix or broken from a longer crystal, because that is not a proper termination for corundum. So it grew from another source. Now, looking at this, there is no attachment point on any side. In other words, this was not attached to the wall of a pocket from here. It was not attached from the bottom or the top, or whichever sides you want to call these, because it is obvious that these are terminated on both ends, and you can tell that by the formations on the end. So crystals don't terminate, or, when they break, you don't find incredibly attractive and desirable formations like that. So that is 100% proof that this is a floater. In other words, this crystal grew while it was in the vug or pocket, either sitting on the bottom, it might have broken off or away from something else. However it did, it had to be a big enough pocket for something this large to either not float per se, but was in a concentrated liquid where the aluminum oxide crystallized out and kept growing on this. That's a big crystal. That took time. That took time. Now, if you want a stunning collector's crystal to that would, well, let me tell you, these from where 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was first looking at these to buy them, they were so inexpensive. I bought them as spheres. Now, can't do that anymore. The spheres are crazy in price. The original crystal that they would have made the spheres from, something like this, oh my, that you can't even find that kind of material anymore. This is a really old stock piece of mine. And someone, if you want to really deepen the value and the future value of your collection and have something no one else will, I am offering this at a sale price. Yep. I am offering this at a sale price, and wow, you're not going to believe it. I am going to make this the, let me see, how many carats? 282 carats. Okay, so, my goodness. That's 1,410 carats. Here we go. All right. Trying to wrap my head around this opportunity for you. It's kind of difficult to do because it is just an exceptional opportunity price-wise. Deep discount here. I'm going to put, sale price. This is going to do it. If you have ever been interested in something amazing, this has to be the stone for you, because I tell you what, after this price, it'll never be less, and I'm going to pull it from offering it for sale. It makes way too good of a display specimen in a showcase, way too good of a deal just to hang on to, because there's only one way the value of this is going to go. So let's just make it as low as I would ever consider it, which is far below what you could find this for. Go try to find another one of those kind of deals. And so figure the math out. At 20 cents a carat, it comes out to $278. So let's just, 20 cents a carat, $278. Yep, that's it, $278. 20 cents a carat. And actually at 14.10, it should be a little bit more than that. I rounded down to get to my auspicious numbers, because 20 cents a carat times 14.10 is over $280. I rounded it down. Yeah, $278. That is a one-time opportunity this week only. After that, it will not be offered for that price, and it will not be offered at all. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell Christy to, after Monday, I'm only going to give it till Wednesday, and then I'm going to pull it from being made available for sale. Because what happens, well, I shouldn't have to talk to you all about the bigger market and what goes on behind the scenes in businesses on YouTube, etc. But since I opened my mouth about it, but what will happen is at the price I'm actually offering that for, that will be conveyed to other people in the mineral market. And I happen to know for a fact that this could be taken from that price, and someone could pay that price and turn around, put it up in auction, and I can assure you that this crystal would bring no less than $800 to $1,000. And when you go and figure the price per carat, it's pennies. It's just, when you're looking at a price per carat. $282, I actually used the wrong ending for that. That's in grams. So so if we look at it let's say this, it's less than $1 a gram. It is less than $1 a gram for a ruby crystal of that size and rarity. Phenomenal opportunity, one chance only. You're looking at it, and it's going to be it's not even going to be up and available for the 2 weeks to 3 weeks that it normally would. It's going to be a 1 week opportunity. And if you got that other crystal, look how cool that would make for a display. For some type, the two colors of ruby, all kinds of things I can think and use that with. So, all right. You can see I'm reticent about even having done that offer on that, but hey, I've put up some amazing deals before, and they get looked over, so passed up. The only thing I don't want to see, I don't mind if one of you, I prefer one of you all scooping it up, but if I go ahead and offer it that, and then it sells, and I see it a week or two later, offered, and this is the way, not even a week or two, it could be even longer, but offered at in another area at a price multiples of what it is now, then that would kind of be a bummer. Because I want, if anybody gets that deal, I want it to stay within the family, and you keep it, and if you want to profit from it, fine. But if I see another wholesaler profiting from it, well, then I know that I offered it too less, which I already did. All right, let's look at item 1249, 425. 1249, 425. Here is a fantastic item. I used to sell so much of these goods in so many different sizes that, I couldn't believe I still had one like this. But I had this one because we would have cherry-picked it and kept it from selling it for many different reasons. And I see mostly because these are all natural colors, okay? All natural colors. So when you get a natural greenish color in agate or jasper, so that is not a common color. So that is part of why I liked it. Then look at some of these other patterns. That's unique. The depth of the green. You can, I often would see different like animals and things like that. That's quite unusual. See the eye like that? It's almost like a duck. And that's what we do. We sit around here and look at that Loch Ness monster, maybe? That fin kind of looked like that, That's why if it's
like a horse with a hat.
A horse with a hat, yeah.
Dog with a hat.
Dog with a hat, yeah. oh, I see it going this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. And that's what we do here in this show. That's why we have fun. That's what it's about, is enjoying your job. And, you know, if anything, that's what I like to bring to Latif, bring here, you know, to Chuck is, you know, let them have an opportunity out of that hectic showroom and come down here to the mushroom room and yuck it up, just like we used to do. Chuck wasn't around then, but at the 3 in the morning shows, when I did the 3 to 9 show for 9 years in Monday mornings, it allowed you to have a little bit more leeway in what we could do and having some fun, and we did. We put on a great show in the meantime. Boy, I have so many things to do. I just need to get going. Okay, I am going to show you the best. Oh, did I give you a price on that? No, thank you. I'm going to show you the best deal ever. You know, I just put up something and it wasn't that rock. Okay. It was that ruby. Let me make sure I put it in the right bag. No, I put the ruby in the bag that represents the price of that, $28. So, yep. Luckily, we have the Christie keeper that would have kept me from selling that ruby for $28. That would have kind of been a bummer. Yeah, so bringing me back to that, yeah, $28 is fantastic. And I don't have another one. So that is if you want one, polychrome. So polychrome, of course, means multicolor. And the neat thing is, which of course, you know, I really appreciate, is that it's all natural color. And iron contributes to much of the coloring in general, but not all the colors. So you get a mix of different type of minerals during its formation, and that's how you come out with that. Now, I think there, you know, and I know there's no two ever alike in the polychromes. And hold on a minute, I'm going to show you something on this bag. You hear me wrestling with it. That's what it takes to put this ruby up properly. Not the 2 seconds it took a moment ago. Let me show you. Here's the price that was actually on the ruby. Here is what I was supposed to sell. The minimum, $578. The maximum I had, $648. And I'm sure Latif would love it if I still put those prices on there. That's what it should have been. That's why I kind of goofed. Named that price. I'm going to let it sit for a week, and that's it. No, not for a week, a couple days. And then I'm pulling it, because that is far below any price I should offer. Okay, so $28 on that one. Let me show you. What I'm getting ready to show you, to me, is probably the finest, what they call thumbnail specimen I have ever featured. Now, they actually have thumbnail contests. That's a certain particular size specimen that usually will fit in the smallest of perky boxes that you see. This is item 1188824. So anything with 3 8s in it cannot be anything bad. That is a whole lot of luck going on there. Now remember, in Asia, 8s, as opposed to our 7s, are the auspicious number for them. And this one, just by chance, has 3 8s. Okay, so when I say thumbnail specimen, I'm referring to a particular roughly size. This may be just a little bit outside the thumbnail size, but it's still right kind of within that range. Hold on, I'm looking at something here. This is not the exact one I wanted to show to start with. I have another thumbnail one I want to feature, but since I have this one out, I just found this right before the show started. And I found it in an area that I pulled. In other words, I pulled it from the show, meaning I wanted to keep it again personally. And that happens. That happens. You know, so you get down, you're selling your personal stuff, and you get to the line, it's like, oh man, I don't want to sell that. I'll just stick it back in the bag. So let me check this out. So we have triple A. All right, so yeah, here we go. All right, here it is. Here it is. Check this out. This is not the exact thumbnail I was talking about, but it could be. Look at how fine that is. This is Brazilian goshenite. Now, goshenite, you know, is the clear form of beryl. It's a form of beryl without any outside impurities. Being allochromatic, you know, being beryl allochromatic, in other words, getting its color from outside impurities in it. Now, let's just see how close it is to goshenite, which is a, you know, close to colorless. Now, I have seen things called goshenite, which is a close or colorless beryl, that had some other light tints of aqua and whatnot, and still be referred to as goshenite. That's probably a better description than calling something really light and aqua because of the value people associate with it. So better to call something really light a goshenite so that they don't, you know, attribute X number of dollars to it and maybe pay too much for the item. But in the case of a crystallized goshenite that's so many size and quality, it's going to certainly be worth more than an aquamarine that's really light in color. Let's check this out. So I just am going to put this against because you know me, I fly straight, man, and I will not snow you in any form or fashion. And if I think there's color, I'll put it up against something to show or disprove that. And let's see, if Chuck just goes through scroll through the iris on that. There we go. You're right on. All right, here we go. He's got the color match, and you can see that I do not see any blue. If anything, maybe a super light green. I don't know. In general, that is a goshenite. There's no way that anybody could call that anything other than a goshenite. It's certainly not of any color tone that could be called an aquamarine. And that's your choices. So is it aqua? No. Morganite? No. Yellow beryl? No. Green beryl? No. Emerald? No. Well, we're out of, we're out of colors. So we're left with clear beryl. And it is. That is, you know, if you cleaned the surface off of it, you see the top? Now it has a, yeah, it would even whiten up more. So, now that we have discerned and proved for the fact of what it is, a colorless beryl, now let's look at it for that reason. Look at how perfect the symmetry of the crystallization is. Now, look at the phyllosilicate, better known as muscovite. Mica. Phyllo is a word, of course, stemming from trees and layers. And so you can see the layering of the mica. So many of you didn't know what you were doing, but as little kids, if you lived in Georgia in the South, you took mica and you would peel the thin sheets off of it. Well, there's been mica found big enough that it is an extremely effective insulator. There's mica sheets large enough that they would make window panes in Alaska and in the northern climates out of the mica sheets. So you could still see out of them, and they were an amazing insulator against cold. Plus you could peel the layers off of them. Now, this looks a little bit more solid than other pieces of mica, but without a doubt, that would, you can see that would definitely still come apart in the sheets. So you have look at how well defined the mica crystal is even. That's gorgeous. Then you have down here, shoral tourmaline, which is often found with it. So in other words, the black variety of tourmaline. Whoa, what else do I see here? Let me see, we have something, is there extra? I thought that was a reflection of mica. I'm wondering what that is, something decomposed. Look at, we do have something extra right there. We have these two crystals, and let's just see if we can get a little bit better look at those. Wow, okay, so, you know, just offhand, because it's often found with them, I would say garnet, but on the other hand, because so many other things, different things are found with them, I would have to take a little bit more investigation, but that is definitely another mineral of unknown origin at this point. Then we have something right there. Look at that. That has a termination to it. Or is that stacked mica? Yeah, it looks like some, you can see the layering there. So this is what you do. You get something like this home and you play with it. You look at it, you spend forever, like I do, looking at specimens and looking to find all the neat goodies about it. You can actually clean this up, do specimen prep by removing a lot of this unwanted material, scraping off the surface of the mica if you want, and have fun with it that way as well. All right, this is a stunning opportunity to get in on, look at that, a gorgeous specimen. And I have this priced at a wonderful opportunity, especially when you consider the value of a Goshenite crystal in original matrix. That's how I find I like most of my specimens, is in a matrix environment. Price on this, how about it? Only $78. Only $78 on that one. Now comes the one I was thinking of. And this is a thumbnail that, I don't know. In my opinion, I think it would win a competition, but in others, maybe not. Item number 124-9725. 124-9725. And I'll put them side by side for a moment. And don't pull up the graphic yet for a moment, if you would, please, Latif. So here we have the two side by side. All right. Now, you can see that this actually has a little bit more tint of color and a little less clarity. Very close to a Goshenite, but you know, technically it could, it would be worth more. But then you look at it like this, and I see a little bit more blue. What do you think, Chuck? You think that that's got a little more color? Yeah, a little bit. Okay, let's look at what else we have here. Now, if we have 6 sides here, right? Well, we're looking at this specimen, and it looks like there's 6 sides here as well. And it's pink. Morganite? Could we have and that's possible. They're found together. And, aquamarine or Goshenite, whatever you want to call that, along with pink beryl, which is, of course, Morganite. Wonder if that's possible. This looks like classic Clevelandite feldspar that's often found with it. Then look at our very, very well-defined phyllosilicate known as muscovite mica. And look at that. Look at how attractive that is. You have this crystal, and then you have another sidecar crystal. You have, oh, look at that bonus crystal right there. Look at how well formed that mica is. Another 6-sided crystal. And then you have these little brown areas. Now, upon closer inspection, of course, which I did for a long time, these could actually, if you used a dental tool like I use, you could pick them out and you could clean a lot of that up. But when you look really closely at these, what it looks like, if you remember the end of that Goshenite I showed the other week that had those beautiful, beautiful defined crystals of siderite and iron carbonate on them. So it would be up to you if you wanted to, I'm not saying that's siderite, but it kind of looks like that and kind of reminded me of, that sometimes something that doesn't look so attractive is actually an attractive part of a specimen. Let's see what else we have. Wow. This covers about an entire pegmatite in one little specimen, because for a pegmatite you have to have mica, and then you have to have quartz, and you have to have feldspar. Then there's quartz in there as well. Okay, now that you've seen this, let me prop this up, and let's see if it probably sits very attractively, I hope, on its own in one way or another. Let me see. Look at that. Look at that. That is self-displaying. Hold on. It did just fine if you're on a flat piece of glass. Oh, that's even better. Oh, that's good enough. I'm going to put the spinner on. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I can see the color in the one. All right. I have a surprise for everybody. That is not the less valuable morganite. That is something of a great deal more. Let's pull up the graphic and show them what that really is. Boom! You are talking about the real deal. That is pink apatite. And I am talking about, how do you know it's pink apatite? Well, the easiest way is how I've showed all of you in years past, the fluorescence. The fluorescence of pink apatite. Remember, pink apatite is the, I bought an entire flat. Of course, it was more than a flat. It was flats because of the size of the specimens of pink apatite a number of years ago. Remember, Miss Barbara coined it the Fabulous Four. Coming from high up in the mountains of Pakistan, where triplite, pink apatite, amazing red zircon, and those fiends came from. Those four. If you have not gotten a specimen of each from me yet, you need to. Now, this one has some of the best defined pink apatite of any of them. And as you can see, along with the beautiful muscovite and then the aquamarine as well. Now, I always try and never have much luck, but we're going to try once again to see if we can show you. It's mostly because Shawn likes to have the fun using all this fancy equipment they have, to see if we can bring out and show you the fluorescence in this stunning pink apatite. So let me get out one of my UV lights, and let me turn this light off, and then let's see. Kill the kicker, and let's see what kind of faith we have in. Let me stop this. All right, so we can see we have a light, and there's a switch there. Just flip the switch. Okay, well, that should be a bright orange, and that would be another fail, as all of you. Okay, so can you iris up and down or through it anywhere? Nothing. Oh, there's a little orange there. So
yeah, I see it a little bit.
Yeah, okay, if that's as good as it'll do. All right, we'll flip the lights back on. There's one other light here I may try as far as the UV light, and I'll get it. Okay, so, but look at it in person. Did you see it in person?
Yeah.
Did you see it in person? I wouldn't even look at that. I was like, turn the kicker off again. I want to see that in person. Look at how, that's just like straight up yellow, like banana yellow. Okay. Okay, so, oh, that's kind of neat just with that light on. Huh. That is, you will have so much fun. If you like fluorescence, there is, and Chuck just got to see it firsthand. Let me try one. This is a mid-range fluorescent light, so let's try this one more time. Go ahead and kill the kicker, and let's see. Okay, this is a little different wavelength. Go through the iris. Okay, so you can see the orange right there on the spot. So right up at the highest intensity, you can see some orange on that. And, but the entire thing just glows orange. All right, thank you, sir. So we attempted that again. We always will, because that's what I do. I keep trying to fail. Okay, anyway, so much more to show you, but that was too much fun of a specimen. Take advantage of it. I don't have anything else like this. This is the kind of item that you see on the cover of magazines and all, when you have all those mineral specimens together like that. And remember, there is the extra one right there. Anyway, have fun. This self-displays in many different angles that it's willing to sit all on its own. So choose the angle you want to show it off best. And if you are using a UV light, then wow, make sure you turn the apatite towards the front and center. Boom, like that. Price on this guy, I have it well below, again, the real value of it. Making this guy only $128. $128. Okay, let me get going here. $128. Let's see. Okay. what I'm going to show you came from my own personal collection. Now, all of you know by now that I love owls are my totem animal, my spirit animal, and there's an amazing reason why we'll tell you in another day. But I've had owls of all different kinds, and this was one of the best deals I had ever seen. And check it out. Here's one of them. Look at this. So you have two owls sitting on a bed of rhodochrosite. Yes, of Peruvian rhodochrosite right there. And look at the little florets. Look at the little florets. I could not, you see the made in Peru, that's desirable actually to have that. This is from the Huron mine. And there's many items that you've gotten from the Huron mine in the past that I've had. Look at these. So these are florets of rhodochrosite, and then with quartz. And then you have more of your like calcite onyx here and other various minerals. Not as important. It would be, now you can see that the type glue that they've used, a lot of that will like peel off, but when it does, you might peel off some of the specimens. So, you know, normally I'd say take the owls off and clean up the specimen. Look at that, especially on something like that, but it may be better off just to leave it as is. Check out the other one. Yes, you get two of them. Look at this. Now, that's pretty enough from the back side. Look at that pyrite. But look at from the front side. Wow. Look at that. Look at, I was amazed at the quality specimen they actually used to put the birds on. These are sphalerite crystals, and when you have enough light on them, you can actually see the red. They're they're not as light as Ruby Jack, but they certainly have great crystallization, and they have red along the edges when you can get enough light to them. Now I'm looking at something else catching my attention here. Look at that big, beautiful crystal of pyrite. Look at that pyrite right there. Pyrite, quartz, sphalerite. And then look at these quartz crystals. It is stunning to take a specimen like this and glue some owls to it. You can see that. So you can monkey around and try to remove them if you want, or leave them like they are, because even like they are, and I, instead of selling them separately, I said, no, I'll put them both together, because that's how they'll look best displayed, is, you know, jacketing out something else, like if you put one on either side of something like this, you know, yeah, something like that. So, you know, here's the mountain, and, you know, create your own mental scene, because that's what it looks like. This looks like a big tree in the background, actually, and we talked about how, and in this case, yeah, it looks like a tree. That's the side you want to use. So things like that, out of the box, because I'm offering both of these at such a, and I don't have any more, so this will be it. $48 for the two. Did I give you the item number? 124 9525. 124 9525. And so now you know the price. 48 for both. 48 for both. Both sets.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah, no such thing as a dumb question.
Their beaks, is that glued on, or is that?
Yeah, no, the beaks will be glued on. That's an excellent question, because sometimes they can be carved as part of the material, but in the case of the beaks, they are glued on, which also allows anybody, if you want, to put a different beak on. Reshape the beak and attach something else. Oh man, wait till you see what I have next. Now remember, of course, if you tend to see a lot of garnets, now even like Miss Gabby said, their garnet are some of her favorites, because the garnet families, there's 6 families, there's a lot of subfamilies, difficult to synthesize, difficult to treat. So the garnet family, you know, luckily it was my birthstone, because I would have gravitated to it as one of my favorite collectible items. So over 53 years of collecting, I'm 64 now, I ended up specializing. It took quite a while before I finally realized what I was specializing in because I kept gravitating buying the same thing. I think, okay, you must like garnet. So I specialized in collecting garnet specimens and made in the USA specimens from the United States or the territories thereof. Item number 1248725. Except when I stray to our wonderful friends to the north with Miss Penny as the ambassador to our group from Quebec, Canada. Well, there happens to be one of the greatest mines in the world. And I don't mean mines as far as brains go. I mean mines as far as rocks go. The Jeffrey Mine in Quebec. Can you imagine? Miss Penny, I would be over there near the tailings. I would be over there causing trouble. They'd be letting me in that gate because, no, they'd probably be taking you to jail, Shawn. I'd be wanting in. The Jeffrey Mine actually closed, and to all commercial mining quite a while ago, a decade or more ago. But they do allow some collecting in, which I think is pretty good. It's a huge, huge mine. Been there for a long time. Huge open pit mine. And it's kind of like Graves Mountain. They're known to have an incredible number of species of minerals that have been found there. Now, what I'm showing you in this piece is something that you normally haven't seen. And I'm not talking about the garnet. Look at this. Okay, so as we zoom in on the garnet first, one of the tells, or one of the ways you can tell something, a garnet is from the Jeffrey Mine, is what you're seeing right there. The stair-stepped growth.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. The stair-step growth, and then this particular crystal isn't one crystal. It is actually made up of several that have come together. But one of the other signs of a Jeffrey mine, now this can occur on garnets from other locations, but the Jeffrey Mine, it's known for the striations. The striations on the face of the crystals, which you see right there, and then the stair-stepping of the growth. And, okay, yeah, see all these striations through here on all the different crystals? And then when, right here, on this particular angle, not all crystals of garnet will have that, but they'll either have the striations or a stair-step pattern to the face, to the growth. And you see that. That is so beautiful. Now, there's something else, and I didn't quite figure it out. I'm going to leave it to one of you smart people. I put a fluorescent light on this, trying to figure out what the white crystals were. Well, when I did, you don't see it right now, but on the bottom half of these crystals, and let me turn it, and you can see it right there. You see that little bit of, it's not shiny. I don't know, what's the word? Unshininess. No, that's not a word. Lack of scintillation. Whatever you want to call it. But you see the bottom portion of that where it looks dusty? Frosted. There you go. There you go. You got to help out the old 64-year-old. You know, long COVID, still kick it in sometimes. You can see the frosted look down here. That fluoresces. It's fluorescent. I'm not sure what it is, but there, you know, I'll get reading these articles and I'll get so in depth, and then I'll realize all this information I'm learning. Now, it's not the case in this, but I'll do it, and the item will be like a $25 item. Wow, Shawn, you are the professor. Because of the length of education, look at that. Look at that. There's the angle. That's the exact angle I was looking for. See, that's been there all this time. I turned it around, turned it around, turned it around. I didn't find that. All of a sudden, there it was. Here it is, right there. That is the classic. When you look up Jeffrey Mine garnet crystals, hessonite crystals. And by the way, the Jeffrey Mine is known, world-renowned for the best grossular garnets, pretty much that there are. Now, this variety of grossular is a hessonite garnet. Remember we did hessonite. Remember that the root of the word Hessen means inferior, because long ago they discovered that Hessenite garnet had a lower refractive index, had a lower hardness, lower specific gravity, so it was inferior to other garnets, and hence the word. Look at that. Look at that. So when you get a formation like that, and then you look right and catch the light right across from it on this one, which it's all about catching, finding the angle of the light. But you have such a, there we go. There it is. Yeah. So there's so much to look at. Now, look at all these others. These are all other grossulars sprinkled throughout. And what are these white winged crystals? They look like little, almost like those ice crystals. Look at, you know what they are? Well, since it's in the graphic, you do. Pectolite. Now, why does pectolite sound familiar? Pectolite. You're thinking. It's not a word we use often, because the word we use instead of it is Larimar. Larimar, from only one place in the world, the Dominican Republic. Larimar is a variety of pectolite. And what you're seeing here is probably the only specimen I've ever had that actually has pectolite crystals. That is unique, rare, and here's the backside of it. And here it is in my hand for size comparison. This is a wonderful specimen because it has just the one crystal for your eyes to gravitate to. It just makes it a real attractive, what they call it, a miniature cabinet specimen. So anyway, straight out of my collection, garnet collection, and this only $78, only $78. And the wonderful thing, one of the many wonderful things about it is the garnet carries the two distinctions that define it as being a specimen from the Jeffrey mine. And that, of course, is the stair-step growth and the striations on those crystals. Look at that. You can see it from, wow, from a distance. That is cool. That is cool. Okay, so gave you a great deal on that. Let me keep going. Let me stick here with a segue right to another garnet. 124 8825. 124 8825. Now, I think you're going to be a little bit more familiar with this one, because I've featured a couple of these before. I had one of the largest collections of this material probably in the Southeast at one time. Years ago, when it first was a novelty and was being brought out, I bought up thousands of dollars worth, which if I had kept them all, it would have easily translated to a 20 to 30 times my cost profit. Huge profit. But of course, that's why I failed in 2 retail stores, because I don't know what the word profit means. I just think, oh, I buy it, I make, a little bit added to it from my gas money, and it's about sharing rocks and minerals with a friend, and, I'm just an old hippie. Profit, things were meant to be shared, a lot of things, and, money was not to be made from items, I got that old philosophy of, one for all for one, and you work the farm, the commune, and everyone does their thing, and everything belongs to everybody, and it's a very unselfish environment. So profit, I'm not really good at. So if I would have made a fortune on what I'm getting ready to show you. Look at this. Look at this. I had these at museum quality level. I'm talking about cabinet quality size. Huge smoky quartzes on them. All kinds of goodies. I've sold every one of them. I had 2 left over at the beginning of the podcast series years and years ago, and I still should have kept them. Look at this. Look at this. This is remarkable. Here, look at the size. So this would be called a miniature cabinet specimen. And now, let me show you some of the bonuses. Look at this, has the smoky quartz crystals. So here's one smoky quartz that is all eaten up on the surface, covered up, which is what you want, with other crystals. But let me show you. Now this is a real mandarin color. You can see some of the darker color ones here. Look at some of these, how large these are. And you don't spot them until you spot them. And big crystals like that are always commented about when you read descriptions of specimens. That is always important. Now, as we go through and look at this quickly, let's wrap around here to this side. And then look, it keeps going down here and then to this smoky quartz. And you see these on the surface, but what else do you see? Look at the color to those. Let's look at the bottom and spin this around, and I will find it in a minute. Because what is that? The quartz is so well disguised because it's covered up. Let's look at that in there. You see that shiny face there, and then you have like almost a faden line. It looks almost like a twin crystal. See how big that is? Like two crystals came together. That could be a possibility. Look at the size of, see that? Look at these. Then you have this huge individual crystal like that. That is a big plus in the aesthetic world of specimens when you assess value on these. All right, here we go. Let's go in and look at this. And let's look at it closer, because let me get enough light on there. All right. I want to show you that not only are those crystals on the surface, but they're also internally within the smoky quartz as well. And that's Chuck that just has to focus through the different planes. There you go. You can see them, the little crystals inside the quartz. Yeah, you can see multiples of them. As I turn this, and then, and I love internal crystals. I think that's always something neat to be able to see, because it's a crystal getting enveloped and by another. Look at the color of those. Now, there is, let me see with my eye. Oh, here we go. Let's look at this one. Is this, yeah, this is a different one. All right. And then right here at the tip of it, look at all those interior crystals. You can see a myriad of them on the inside of that smoky quartz. And that's when you look underneath, around, no telling what else you can find that hasn't been discovered on many of these pieces. Look at that. See, now you can really see the shape of the smoky quartz. And then you can see, look at that. Hold on, let me see if I can do this and hold it in place. You know, boy, there'd be some great photographs if I could just keep everything. Hold on. Let me get, this is what it's all about, and the fun to enjoying the money you spend on specimens, and that is to find out everything about them. Let me turn this the way I had it. This has, oh, here it was. Okay, so I was just trying to get to where to point so you can look at home. Right up here, you can see right underneath the tip here, underneath here, is where you're looking. And there are specific spessartine crystals within there, and underneath all this other material. This is harder and harder to find good quality pieces like this. And don't be fooled by the internet. Well, for one thing, the prices are crazy. The other thing is it becomes real important how large the crystals are, the quality of them, whether they have internal crystals, so much about them. Look at that. Look at that color. Amazing. See, and when you're looking at it, that's a smoky quartz right there. So with internal crystals, hello, Miss Nori. Now, how about this jewel? I have it specially priced. I have it specially priced, only $258. $258, and I really labored about whether I should only charge that much for it or not. All right, let me scoot through some items really quick here. $258. Now, let me show you. I want to show you, everyone's going to get a second chance at this item. It is item 1217024. 1217024. And it is a, hold on, let me type that in myself. Let's see, that's 1217024. Okay. And I had these cut from rough. Purple Umba sapphires. Look at those. Look at those. 2 matched pairs, basically. And hold on. Let's just get a better look at these guys. Now, these I had specially cut. So that's why you're going to get the beautiful brilliance and the color out of them. And I find that ones in this color range can also have a color change. So that's something that you want to look for by playing around with, with a couple different lights to see if you do get that color change. And look at these, and look at how dichroic they are. So you have a purple color looking through it that way, a deeper purple that way. Look at that. Yeah, very much blue, very much a bluish color. And then you have wonderful violets. And then to have 2 matched pairs, I can't imagine as a goldsmith how much fun that would be back in the days of making custom pieces. So you can make a look at that, look at that. So custom cut collector's parcels. These stones were mined in the 70s and cut maybe into the 80s, but they're just not being found. Now remember, purple is the second rarest color after Padparacha, which is, you know, the wonderful color of pinkish orange or orangish pink. Can't get those. Look at those. Anyway, those 4 gems I have as a set, 4 stones, offering them. How about this? You know what? I'm going to do, I shouldn't, but I'm going to do a little discount on these. I'm going to make them only $138. $138, and that's going to be a one-time deal. And I'm not going to offer them again. Those are way too pretty when I think about how little of money that is for the look, especially the matched pairs. Wow, no, it makes me want to keep them. Let me show you something that makes me want to keep. 1248625. 1248625. Get ready to have to breathe in and go because look at this for color. Yeah, talk about the real deal when it comes to robin's egg blue. This is the most one of the most sought after, if not the that and along the electric blue, the deep electric blue colors are desirable, but the robin's egg blue is one of the rarest and hardest colors to find in hemimorphite. And here's the other thing. The hemimorphites coming out of this particular mine, the Shawn mine, most of them are smooth, have a smooth surface like you find in many smithsonites. These, or not these, this particular one is crystallized. Look at the surface. See the crystals? It's just not smooth like the majority of them are. This is an amazing piece. It actually sits, let me see, self-displays in one particular angle because I already played with it. Look at that. Look at that. So you don't even need a stand if you don't want one, but a stand would certainly, you know, allow you to put it up in other directions. Wow, look at that. Oh, it's going to balance. I'm going to do it. Look at that. You guys just know how weird I am about that. I think that's so cool when it does that. Then you don't need a stand. Anyway, hemimorphite is the zinc variety. Yeah, it's weird to think that that is a zinc mineral. And it has a lot, you know, for everything from calamine lotion, that is has its basis in this series of minerals, in the zinc minerals. So this is a very, very collectible and desirable specimen. I have discounted it. I looked at what these go for, and it's like I just turned my head and said, "No, my people aren't." No, $178. Only $178. It should be multiples of that. Multiples. I'm going to show you an amazing piece. Now, item number 1248524. 1248524. And what I'm going to show you, yeah, let's see, 1248525. I'm sorry, I'm still in the year 24. 8525. 1248525. And what I have here is a very rare, because these are no longer coming out of this mine. They have mined past the oxidation zone where pseudomorphs are created. This was at one time, look at this, you've never seen malachite in form like that. Now you've seen the fibrous malachite, but you have not seen it crystallize like that. You know why? Because this used to be azurite. Azurite crystallizes like that. And malachite is often known to replace it. Molecule by molecule, it replaces what was azurite. It's called a pseudomorph. And this being one of the really unique ones because it pseudomorphed, and the way what it pseudomorphed when was fibrous malachite, not just another form of massive malachite or general malachite, but fibrous malachite. And look at how well defined these the crystals are. So it replicated and replaced the azurite perfectly. And you can see this is a nice size specimen. And then I have a info sheet that will go with it. And you can see exactly where it's from. Santa Cruz Municipality. You have my additional information there, and then additional information on the mine and this material. I have a special discounted opportunity on this, and there won't be another one. And there, as far as these coming from, the pseudomorphs coming from the Milpelius mine, they're extinct. Now, the mine isn't, but the oxidation zone where the pseudomorphs have to occur, they've already mined through that. So there will not be any more coming out. So that's why that part is extinct. It is a rare collector specimen and deserves a expensive, rare price, but I'm not gonna do that. Here, it also, I made a copy of it, but this is the label that actually you can display with it. And that will come with it as well. So here you go. You ready for a deal? I have a deal for you. And as soon as I find the piece of paper the deal was on. No, doesn't matter. I'm going to make it a phenomenal opportunity and offer this one for Why not? $148. Only $148 on that. And that is a keeper. It is so unique. Now, I remember I still have another one if you want to collect pseudomorphs, and I'll offer it in another show. One of those pseudomorphs from Morocco with those wonderful little crystals in it, which you should definitely get one of those as well, because then when you have a couple items of a pseudomorph of malachite, it really adds value in the overall picture of your collection. Let me show you item 1249025. 1249025. This will give you an appetite. Look at the size of this appetite. Look at that. And there is so many pluses about this. Okay. You see the surface that looks melted? That's, yeah, either that or it looks like there's a heavy coating of like Shawn's cheesy polishing spray or something. No, this is the way these crystals are found. And here's the other cool thing, in a way. The termination has a melted look as well. And coming from this particular mine, the Smart Mine has been mined since the late 1800s. It's open now for the last 2 decades or so. For you, it was like at the time like $15 a person to go, and you can go and dig your own. I saw some pictures of some people and what they were digging out of that mine themselves, and yeah, it looked like a lot of effort, but they were pulling out 6 and 7 inch apatite crystals. Now remember, when someone finds something like that, okay, so maybe they find a total of 6 crystals. Well, you have 6 crystals in a giant, continent collectors all over the place. That doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it takes a strike of like hitting the, all the sweet home mine rhodochrosites, and you saw it didn't lower the price of them. The price, because there were enough available that the collectors were able to get their hands on some, thus driving a unknown price way up. And now the price of those rhodochrosites is phenomenal. It's going to be the same thing. I mean, so the Smart Mine hasn't been producing much as far as commercially anymore. At one time, the amount of phosphorus and apatite they mined was tremendous. But that was, over 100 years ago. Look at the size of this. Now, some of the other cool aspects are it fluoresces. It's a wonderfully fluorescent piece. Then let me show you up here. Let me show you just look at the gem quality. Look at the quality of not only the color, but look at that, of the clarity. I mean, there's a stone, you could facet right out of there. And so, let me see, look at this. So, and as we go down through this piece, it's not just there, it's through the entire crystal. You can see there's a translucency to transparency depending on what portion you're looking at it in. This, in the world of crystals and of apatite, is a very desirable piece. And it was mined, it's actually in the graphic. Hey, thanks for doing that. Awesome. I mean, Latif, I know that was a lot of work to do that, but I love when all the details that I put in the description that, when Latif actually puts them all in there and then pulls it up. That's wonderful. 40 plus years ago, I remember getting this crystal when I was maybe in my late teens, early 20s. I remember this. So, but remember, by the time I was 21, I was heading up a trade shop with 7 other jewelers. This was in Cleveland, Tennessee, and we did the East Tennessee market and all. And yeah, I had a lot of different connections, ran a lot of people. And I, of course, remember, I've been collecting since 11, never stopped at any point in my life. And things like this, I'd come across and say, oh, that looks like a good deal. I have no idea what I paid, but I just know it would have been a good deal at the time. So when I tell you that this is a good deal, believe me, It is. It's only $128. Only $128 on that guy. Now, let me see. Okay, let me get to some things here before time runs out. Oh, okay, so for the new guy that requested a slab, you would not believe when you did that. Let's look at item 1249225. 1249225. And I came across this item. Now, there's no, reserving anything for anybody in this show unless it's something really specific and we talk about it. So this is not reserved for Mr. Bob or anybody, but, if you, Bob, if you see something you like, let me just tell you what everyone else tells me. The items get sold really quickly, so we don't put a hold on anything unless you say so ahead of time. So it's up for grabs to whoever comes first. So hopefully you'll catch the show first. But to the rest of you, if you wanted to wait a day and see if it was anything Bob wanted, fine. If not, fine as well. There is anonymity in the show, so I don't go and see who got what. All right. So let me show you what I found, which is, I'm only going with that because I found something kind of cool. Did I give you the number yet, Latif? Yeah. Okay. Let me show you something that the lifetime of how long this kind of material is going to be available is limited because there is known to be a lot of gold underneath this deposit, and it's been mined heavily for many years. This is the state stone of Argentina, the Inca Rose. Look at this, rhodochrosite. Here is a slab of rhodochrosite I found. And, what makes this so unique for so many reasons, of course, manganese, it's a manganese carbonate. Now, this is just this is just a little wax I'm putting on there. I was just going to see if it brought it up any shinier, because this is just like a spray, lacquer spray on here or something, just to give you an idea of what it looks like, kind of the wet look. But I didn't do that part, so I see that didn't make any difference. So you get to see it, and if I could do the wet look, this would polish up beautifully. Beautiful material. Let me show you background. Thanks, Chuck. Look at that. Look at behind there. Now, the different colors relate to the different chemicals that might be in with the rhodochrosite. So you can have the lighter colors being more calcium carbonate, in other words, calcite. Some of the darker colors might be siderite and iron carbonate and have more iron content. This piece, I like it because it's an end cut. So if you just want to use it as a display specimen, it's kind of attractive because you get to see what the outside of a piece of rhodochrosite looks like. And from looking at it from the outside, you think, oh, that's not very pretty. But what you really don't see, unless you look close, is the beautiful banding in the material like that. And remember, it forms stalactites and stalagmites in the some of the deposits. And all this material is mostly found in one area. This piece is old stock. Again, another item I remember having a good 40 years ago. So, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to make a super price. This kind of rhodochrosite, really expensive to get, even slabs or slices of it. Only $68 on that. Only $68 on that piece. All right, give me just a minute. Let me put up a couple things. I'll be right back. Look at this, something you haven't seen again, and I hadn't either. What if you were walking along the road and you saw this? You just kick it as another rock. Look, by splitting it, what was inside. Now this is fruxite, which is a chromium-bearing mica. There's actually a couple different types of mica, maybe a little even white muscovite in there. But this is indeed a collector specimen. Look at that crystallized ruby in there. And boy, it will fluoresce a stunning red. This is one of the, it's kind of like the opal knobbies and nodules that you would find and crack open, except in this one, look at that, a ruby. How cool is that? That is, and believe it or not, I didn't see anything else like that in researching it to see more and learn more about it. I couldn't find any other specimen, any other specimen like it. So anyway, price on this one, I've got to move here because my time is getting shortened. So I need to get in what I can feature for you. This incredible opportunity, one of a kind ruby indeed, and something you're not going to find really anywhere else. I certainly didn't. So how about this deal? And take advantage of it because because it's just a phenomenal piece. And so let's just price it as such. And let me just check one thing to make sure I am bringing you the deal I wanted to bring you on this. And why not? Make it only $118. $118, and that is ridiculous. Ridiculous for me to even begin to offer something like that at that price. Okay, I have a couple more items for you. Item number 1249625. 1249625. And let me just show you. Look at this. Look at these. This is the finest, highest grade quality British Columbia nephrite jade I have ever seen. Ever seen. And 10 pieces here. Now, let me just show you really quickly because this is almost facet grade. If this level of nephrite, if you had a big enough piece to make a bangle out of, or make look at this. Look at this. Have you seen anything like this before? Look at the color. Now, of course, the darker areas, I'm wondering if they didn't intentionally leave those in there, because look at how close they are to the surface, which could easily be cut out of the stone. And hold on. Look at that. And excuse the dirty tray. I'm just in a hurry here. Okay, yeah, like you see that little chromite speck or little, look at the clarity. And look at this one. Why wouldn't the cutter have removed that? I'm not sure what it is, but that almost looks like blue. Do you see a little blue, like a dark blue in that at all, Latif? I know. I'm just not sure. I'm not wondering if that is actually not like a horsetail included, something desirable, because other than that, they have, look at this, right again at the surface. Why wouldn't they polish that out? So anyway, some more research maybe on that one as to what it is. But look at this. Look at the clarity. This is, again, some of the finest I have seen ever in nephrite. Now, as a comparison, let me show you. This actually was with the same parcel. Let me show you. Look at these. Here is more of your standard. Now, these come with it as well. More of your standard grade nephrite. And until you have a comparison, let me just do it. Until you have a comparison for quality, look at that, you can't really appreciate the beautiful high-end material until you see something that is more of the run-of-the-mill material. And you can certainly see the differences. These things are polished so high up, they don't want to stand the tweezers. But you can see why this quality of nephrite, or jade in general, is called imperial jade, or and look at that compared to some of the regular colors. So anyway, that whole parcel, it is such a huge, unusual, rare parcel. I just had to take a moment to show that to you. $68. $68. And I know I need to go, so let me just wrap it up here with a opportunity at showing you this crystal, whichever one scooped them up before. Item 1223624. 1223624. And check this out. And look at how beautiful the colors go. Look at that, the natural colors. That is Mother Nature. Isn't that something? So, Oro Prado, Brazilian topaz crystal. Look at that. This is one, I think, probably the last one I have. Look at that. Remember how I told you to tell the difference? The shape of a topaz crystal? Look at that color. Look at that color. So, add that to your collection. That can be wire wrap. And that one is, I'm offering that guy at a huge discount. Take advantage of it and make it only $58. $58 on that. And as much as I would like to show you more, I have one last one if you would. One last one. I just found it. It goes, okay, item 1218524. 1218524. I had animals I wanted to show you, but carved animals, we're going to have some more of those next weekend then. All right, here we go. Last item on the show. Check out these podporachas. Look at these. Look at these. I must have gave you the wrong item number, did I? Item 1218520. Oh, wait, hold on a minute. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, 1218524. Look at those. This is the real deal. Genuine podporachas. Okay, you know, I'm sorry to have pulled that item number up. Then here it is on the side there. Okay, so these are Tanzanian stones, and again, these are no heat. I had them cut from rough. I know them well. These go back, the rough goes back to the 70s and 80s. Old stock. You got that number? 1216,524. Yeah. Let's see, 1216,524? 1216,524? Yeah, you got it. There you go. All right, look at that. 3 matched stones. And you should love the price. I am offering these 3 as a end of the show special. How about this? All 3 of them, 72 point total weight. Let's make it only $72, $100 a carat. $72. Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow. All right, are we out of time, Latif? Wow. Wow. All right, we're out of time. Do we have time to do a minute to do trivia, or what am I, or? Okay, let me get set up. I'll be right back with the what am I. Okay, out of Latif's kindness, he said, I've got 5 minutes, and I'm gonna go real fast. Everybody, the price on these are gonna be individual prices. What you're gonna see is the total quantity right now. I have only 2. These are cobras, $32 a piece. $32 a piece. Chevron amethyst, look at this material, Brazilian material. Look at that carving. Look at that, 3-dimensionally carved. And that is, they stand up on their own, even have a little movement on their own. $32 a piece. The next item, item number 1247125. I only have the 2 I'm getting ready to show you. Look at these. These are incredible and beautiful, beautiful. Look at this obsidian. You have gold sheen obsidian on a lily pad of aventurine. Mexican gold sheen obsidian. I only have these 2, $32 a piece. $32 a piece. That's the only 2 I have of those. Next, and that's what keeps this going quick and easy, item 1246425. Only have the 2 in amethyst that you see. Look at this. Nothing you have seen like this. I have animals you don't normally see. Look at these turtles. Beautiful, beautiful carving, quality amethyst. And remember, Take your time. Look at the amethyst. You can find, look, that even looks like it has an eye right there. You can find everything from in hydro bubbles, other inclusions, type of thing. So these are $32 each. I only have the two that you see. Now, real quickly here, I am only going to, then we'll have to cover some others on another day, but I am appreciative here. We have multiples. I've got 3 of these. You're going to want them. I love them. Item 124, 6725. 124, 6725. These are the only 3 I have. Look at this. Look at this. These are look at the quality of the bears. With, look at that, with a polka dot jasper. Look at that. 32 lonely only dollars each. And look at how big those are. Look at the quality. I love the different patterning. Look at this. You might think that that may not be as nice of a pattern as it. Look closer. Look closer and you're going to see, yeah, look at these. Yeah, if you know how amethyst forms and how calcite forms and how it can crystallize within each, yeah, I'll bring you a specimen next week and show you what's going on with that. Look at these. Anyway, wouldn't that be neat to get all 3? These are only $32 each. Look at the, so it's a, you can't, pick an individual one, it's luck of the draw, but I like any one of those. Now, here we go. We're down to, I tell you what, I'm going to give you only, this will be the last choice, and then I don't want to use up Latif's good favor. Item 124, 5925. 124, 5925, and I only have these 3. Look at this. This is an animal I've never seen carved, but the American buffalo is indigenous to only the United States. Only the United States. And that, look at that. You see buffalo? Yeah, now you can see the buffalo. Look at that. If you've never seen a buffalo in the wild, you're in for a treat when you do. They're massive animals, massive. Look at that carving. And wow, look at the quality of the amethyst. Look at see this? You get crystallization in these carvings that, look at that. Look at that. That's okay, Latif. I'm just giving him a flash. That's okay. Look at that. Okay, $32 each. And I only have the 3 that you're looking at. Now, I've got more, but that'll be next weekend. I don't want to confuse you. I really appreciate getting to show you what I have just done. Okay, I'll be right back with What Am I? Okay, so as you see, as I promised, we're going to do a What Am I instead of a trivia. I do apologize for the little bit of a shortened show. Just having some scheduling things. By the way, it'll be too late then, but part of it is Asif went from my show. He has joined Mike hosting. So for those of you, if you want to catch Asif from time to time, he's been honing his hosting skills and doing some shows with Mike, and so that's good. That's good. But in the meantime, though, it caught us a little off guard down here. But we'll make it up another show. I am still able to get in the What Am I? So let's just start over here. As I do, I give you a quick little flash of the items. So left to right. And you're to tell me, what am I? So there's the first one. Here is the second one. Okay. My descriptive self is so hard for me to bite my tongue and not want to go into my description of what things are. All right, check this one out. No hint. No hint. Sometimes I do if I think they need one. That's the team. All right, this one, the hint would be you guys have had some trouble with this one before, but let me just make sure you see it well enough, and let me get the light where it's on it and then kind of off. So you see some of this reflection and you see the color. That's the key. Now, here, this one should be an easy one. Many of you don't see this piece because this is a personal piece of mine that I collected, not collected, I wish, that I managed to obtain in the country of origin. This is as good of quality of material as it comes. What am I? Now this one is kind of a two-part question. You know, of course, obviously, it's a mini geode. What is the name of and type? What's the type of geode? What is this referred to for its type? The kind of geode. So yes, it's a geode, but it is a geode. Now, for a little extra credit, the type of agate around the edge, I gave it a name a long time ago, and it is an appropriate name for the type of agate that it is. What is the name I use for the variety of agate that's around the exterior? Which would be correct compared to the name of the type agate that it is, or that I'm using. The actual agate that goes by that name looks very similar. So hence I described it as being that type of agate. All right, so what type of geode? And if you want, tell me what type of agate. And then this one, then this one. And I'm just going to turn this around a little bit. Some of you may be tricked by it. Others of you may know what it is right away. I'm afraid to say anything else because all of you clever folks will know then just what it is. But let me tell you this. Okay, if I hit it with a hammer, it has perfect cleavage. And that's all I'll tell you because then you would know certainly what it is. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Odd number. We had 9 last time, 7 this time. A couple maybe harder than others. I think overall it's easier. Good luck to all of you. And remember, there is no such thing as guessing. What you're doing is answering using the best available and amount of knowledge you have, and you're using that level of knowledge to come up with the best answer you can based on the knowledge that you have retained. That's not a guess. That's not a guess. So no one used the word guess. All of you, what you're doing is answering. And like I said, answering based on your level of knowledge. That's not a guess. Even if your knowledge is just a squash, still not a guess. Okay, I have a lot of fun things. You see that? Let's see, which side is it on? Yeah, that side. That side. I'm a one-man, three-stool show. You see that geode? I'm going to show that next week. That is a Celestine geode. We're also going to get to those, as I've been promising you, those huge, beautiful, beautiful petrified wood slabs, and so many more things. Thank you all, and thank you all for your support. And I really appreciate Charles mentioning and appreciating the fact that that I said as much. So that's great. And remember, support can be as little as a $32 animal that you might get for your little niece, nephew, grandchild, grandson, your close girlfriend, your close guy friend. Buffalo Bills, for an example. Let's say you have a buddy that loves the Buffalo Bills. Well, I just showed an amethyst buffalo. What if their birthday happens to be February? That's the birthstone, amethyst, the birthstone for February. What else? I don't know a team named the Cobras, but if you know someone that loves snakes, get them a cobra. The Turtles, that's not a good name for a football team, but but what I'm saying is, think out of the box for the gift of the idea. And, you know, like the turtle, if I put that in a stand and set it up you know, with the turtle face. It would be a wonderful gift. So I'll end it there because I've already stretched out my time and gotten in more items than I was supposed to show you. And I'm appreciative to Latif for that. All right. God bless all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And, you know, a lot of things going on in the nation right now. So just everyone stay safe and, you know, support not only your family, but your friends and family and strangers. They need your support as well. And oftentimes it's taking that one step forward to help someone else that could be the defining moment for that particular person at that particular moment, and how they look upon life. All it can necessarily take is just one act of kindness, and you can change the world. Thank all of you. I thank all of you. And I passed my driver's ed test this week, the eye test. Yep. So that was my big surprise. I didn't realize that upon turning 64 in the state of Georgia, I let my license lapse, and then I wouldn't have had to take the test. I was so scared of failing. You see how I can't read the numbers, right? It was easy. I passed. So for those of you that worried, if I could pass it, all of you can, because remember, I'm the guy that likes to use 30 power loops. Not so much that I need to, but so that I can show you everything I can to the best of my ability, because that's what I do. Cheers. See you next week.